Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to look at quarantining. Now I don't mean as humans. The last few months we've all been quarantined pretty much, or we haven't been sensible. I'm talking about fish and perhaps plants as well, or anything else that you may put into your tank. Now as you can see, what I have here is a rinky-dinky little cheapo plastic kiddies toy type aquarium, I suppose you could say, or I think it's more designed for keeping reptiles in than fish. I think a couple of gallon maybe, something like that, but no, cheap, just something to hold water even. A quarantine tank doesn't have to be expensive. You don't want it to be all aquascaped or hardscaped, or you want it easily strip downable, easily set upable. You don't want to have to worry about it being cycled or blah blah blah, all that stuff. So basically, whenever I get new fish that aren't going into an empty tank, they all go into quarantine for a period. Now that might be a week, might be a fortnight, might be a month. All depends on how the fish do. Now in here at the moment we have 5 very small celestial pearl danios, very young fish. So it's probably for the safest that they stay in here for now. They're only going in with other CPDs, so they're not going to get eaten, but I can keep a good close eye on them in here. And the main reasoning for having the quarantine tank set up is to be able to check that new fish, shrimp, snails, plants, whatever, aren't carrying some kind of disease. Now I learnt that lesson the hard way. I bought some Bosmano rainbow fish from somewhere, which brought columnaris in with them and basically wiped out my 200 litre tank. I think there were 5 or 6 fish that survived it. So yes, now it doesn't have to be expensive. As I said, this is cheapy little plastic tank. You could use a storage tote. I've got a couple of those set up at the moment, which are running as bristlenose grow out tubs. Just need a little sponge filter. Again, they're cheap enough. A air pump to run the sponge filter, and a heater. That's it. And that can save all your other fish. Now, why do I go with an ugly tank, or an ugly plastic tank, or a tote that doesn't look pretty? It's because, let's be honest, if you've got a nice glass tank, chances are it's going to turn into a display tank at some point. It happened with my previous one. Hasn't happened with this one because I don't want it sitting around, in this case on my coffee table, for long periods of time, because it's just not pretty. Now, where else from here? Oh, something in my teeth. Right. A lot of people will say about treating fish when you get them. Now, personally, I don't like to give medication to fish unless they're sick. You know, so the stress of buying them, getting them home, putting them into a new tank, and then bombarding a whole bunch of chemicals at them when you might not ever need to, more likely to cause health problems for your fish. And also, let's be honest, it's expensive. Medications aren't cheap. So these 5 CPDs have been in here. It's 8 days now. Close observation, no signs of any fungus, bacterial infections, white spot. They're behaving just like my other CPDs do that they'll be joining. Okay, they're a bit pale, I haven't coloured up much, but they probably are a little bit stressed out being in that tank. And given that it's on a it's on a pale coloration, as it were, of the base, and there's not much cover, they're probably, just camouflaging themselves, as it were, by not colouring up where they'd stand out like a sore thumb. That said, as soon as I stick them into the display tank, I would expect within a day or two they'll be fully coloured and fitting in perfectly well. But there we go, that's my reasoning for having a quarantine tank. It's not expensive, it's easy to do. Just keep the sponge filter in your other tank or one of your other tanks. Pretty sure most tanks have got airlines in them. Just take off the air stone, put the sponge filter on it, stick it in there, it'll pick up enough bacteria to run whatever load is going to be in the quarantine tank. And it'll save you a lot of heartache in the long run. So there we go. Quarantine tanks. Good to have. Well worth the hassle. The outlay. Long term. Save your heartache, save your money loss. And even if nothing else, if you've got nothing to put into a quarantine tank because your tank or tanks are all fully stocked, it ain't going to take up much space. And you can always use it as a fry grow out tank if you need to do that as well. I've got a funny feeling there might be some epistogrammas end up going in here fairly shortly. I'm kind of running out of space. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bit of a rambly, waffly one, but just trying to get the point across that having a quarantine tank is a good thing. Something we should all strive for, some description or other. So whether it's just a plastic tote, big ice cream tub, yeah, a bucket even, anything. You just need a heater for tropical fish. If you can cold water fish, you don't even need the heater. And a small filter of some description, and you're sorted. Anyway, thank you for watching. You know what to do, like, subscribe, comments, all that good stuff. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye.